Aloha. This is Samana. This is my 29th podcast, and this is entitled 2020 Perfect Vision. I was in a retreat in Maui, Hawaii, the beginning of January, and my Vipassana teacher mentioned in his last Dharma talk the connection between the significance of this year being 2020. It's a new decade. It's an election year. And it also means perfect vision. Is that a coincidence or not? We wonder. So, wouldn't it be tremendous if this could be so for the majority of the planet, this perfect vision? There seems to be so much deception in the world and advertising and the drug companies. This is good for you, yet look at these side effects if you could read that small print. And of course, politics. How does one know what to trust? One of the participants in the retreat, it was her second silent retreat, and before we started, we were able to talk that first day before we went into silence, and she was talking about how she's going to enjoy not having to hear about politics for 6 days or social media. We didn't look at our phones or anything, and she goes, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to trust. And I said, keep meditating and keep coming to these retreats and you'll know what the truth is. I personally have done over 35 retreats, a minimum of 7 days and up. This is one of the smaller retreats I've done for 6 days. I've done them up to 2 weeks. And I've gotten so much, and I do daily meditation, and I have so much inner trust in my knowingness because my body has a feeling, it just fits, and it's real and it's palpable, and I know what the truth is. One of my main intentions for this auspicious year is to amp up my teachings, my monthly meetup gathering. I do have a meetup called Be a Relationship Architect that we meet once a month. This one is going to be next Tuesday, the 28th, and it's from 7 to 9. And the topic always changes, but this one is going to be moving from fear to trust in 2020. So we're going to talk about relationships and things that scare us in relationships, or why we're not in relationships, or why our relationships aren't working well, or even in our personal life, what scares us. I'm going to amp up my teachings, my counseling, my personal spiritual practice, daily tools, and I want to spread the word of consciousness throughout the land any way that people will listen to me. When we live healthy, awake lives connected to a healthy body and an open mind, we perceive life clearer. We trust our gut instinct and the omniscient abilities of our brilliant, open heart. When we do our own investigations regularly to check in and see, where are we at this moment? What do you discover? Are you anxious? Are you spun out? Or are you anchored in your breathing deep in your belly? Is there a ease in the rhythm of the breath? Meditation is not a woo-woo thing. It has numerous scientific studies and proof of how it expands and lightens up more areas of our brain, how it expands the neurons in our heart, and it is a natural alkalizer for a commonly acidic, stressed out body. When I did this 6-day silent retreat in Hana, Maui, with my good friend David Garrison and 12 others committed souls, we had the elements. We were right on the ocean, and there was a big field with wild bulls and egrets everywhere. And it was so wonderful because in the wintertime, the ocean tends to be quite dramatic and loud and wonderful. And so we had all of these elements that were emphasizing this silence and this spectacular full moon. We were continually reminded of the raw nature around us, the powers this planet offers in a mirror effect that we are capable of adapting to, of harnessing ourselves, this power. Regardless of race or age or beliefs or how much pain and suffering we live with, the sound of the waves crashing so dramatic, it was the island telling me of its infinite power that's available. It's continuous and impermanent, and we have that ability to tap our own inner power. There were the first couple days before the rain came, I was lying out in the sun and I could feel it on my skin, and it was so warm and it felt so nurturing and just heavenly. And then I realized if I laid out there all day, too much of this warm, nurturing feeling could bring an intensity that can burn and drain the body. So there's always that balance, that inner knowing of what are our limitations, what are our needs, when do we need to move into something more and away from someone or something more. Like there's a fine balance that we're always looking at. That full moon, that it was this beautiful day where we were all walking around so still, all 12 of us, in this large living room of wooden floors, and you couldn't hear a sound. We were just walking seamlessly, and we hear this loud noise, which I looked up for a moment and looked out into the field, and it was the bulls crying out in all their animalistic nature. I silently laughed and said, yes, I would cry out like that. I get it. I feel that full moon too. We all have that animal nature in us. We are affected greatly by nature, by the moon, by the ebb and flow, the cycles, the tides. Nature is the core of our healthiest existence. It is the answer. It is what we need to sustain and nurture and give back to. Our 2020 perfect vision can be, as a species, let's see how each of us can up our game in lessening our carbon footprint, in having less waste, less resources used. Instead of a disposable world where it's not the right color, I'm bored with it, it's not enough. What about quality, reusable products? There's Valentine's Day coming up, there's birthdays coming up, there's so many different celebrations. And what about making a card out of something you have, or making a gift, or baking something and sharing a meal with someone in a healthy way, or cooking together? We're going into the Year of the Rat with the Chinese New Year, which I'll do a whole podcast on that soon, probably next week since it's February 5th. And the Year of the Rat, the Chinese say, may all their children be rats, because they're highly resourceful and they're frugal and they know how to make life happen with minimal resources. And trash is not trash to them, it's gold to them. So what if we all tap our inner rat and figure out how to do this to help the planet, help each other, help generations to come? If we look to see on any level how we can support Mother Earth, how we can support the waters and the oceans and the streams and the quality of air, so our children and our grandchildren and generations to come can be free to live healthy lives on a global scale. My daughter is 26. I do not have grandchildren yet, nor from my son, my Hanai son. I suspect I will in the next couple of years, but I don't want to fear that we're going to be in war and we're going to be without quality water or quality air or without enough food on the planet because we're stripping its resources, because we're polluting it, because factories and production and profit matters more. I hope that we wake up and we become more conscious. And yes, I am a holistic hippie Democrat overall, yet more so, I refuse to allow this political temperature and beliefs of separateness remove me from any individual. I look at character. I look to see if it's in my personal time. I have learned to live alone and be joyous and be happy. I prefer connection. I prefer a life partner. I prefer my family and friends, but I can live alone without being sad or lonely. I've learned that by doing my daily life tools. But when I spend personal time with someone, if it's not a client or a student, I actually look to see their character. Do they have good minds and hearts? That's my scale of reference. And wouldn't we do best to find our commonalities with people that we feel initially opposed to due to our differences? In my 30s, I used to say a phrase, after my spiritual awakening. So what I mean by my spiritual awakening is there's a moment in life, if we're blessed, if we're intended on waking up, that it's as if everything went from self-centered, everything had to do with me, to an acute awareness of myself in reference to the whole, in reference to everyone, to see how the slightest move of hand or a word that I say, how it affects everyone in front of me and everyone on the planet, like a rock in the stream, that it causes the ripple. And I saw how connected, interconnected we all are. Whenever I traveled the world, whoever I'd speak with, I felt they were all a part of me. Even the painful reflections and behaviors that I didn't want to claim as part of me, I learned to see it as a review of what humans can be like, can do like, how they can be so lost and disconnected to their hearts and to others that it is about selfing and profit. And they're very lonely and they're very afraid. I bless them quickly and I move on. My saying that I learned was, to get to the king, you have to dress as the guards. I believe that's biblical somewhere. Yet that applied, and it still applies, and that view still serves me well. Who would I be if my beliefs and experiences are always fiercely guarded, and there is no movement, there is no growth or progression that can happen because I am this? I never want to be so defined that I can't grow and alter and meld. I wish to meet others where they are at while still maintaining my integrity and living my truth. This adaptability and metamorphosis has taught me so much about other ways that I feel a greater connection of community and humanity. A TED Talk that I believe I referred to in a past podcast, where he said, "It's hard to hate up close, so get closer." I believe this is the answer for attaining perfect vision in 2020. Seeing clearly and growing beyond what you have known before. I believe we all want to be seen and heard. And as a country formed on democracy, where no matter what your skin color is, your financial status, or whatever is unique about you, we can make decisions with our good mind and good hearts and trust in our bodies without a doubt that what we need, we all need to be healthy, to thrive, to be loved. We all have this birthright to choose, to be free, to make choices, to feel cared for and supported. I ask that we be wise each day and make certain that you continually check in with ruthless self-honesty. What are your motivations? And if you're at a time in your life where it is about money and profit, then ask yourself, what's the amount you need to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel balanced and loved? Or what does your external life need to look like to make you feel this is the most fulfilling life possible? I suspect you will find there is no specific amount that will ever satisfy that path. Perhaps it's time to open to a new direction, some direction that you marinate in your bones and it feeds you deeply. What if we contemplate this and really look to see there is nothing wrong with creating your empire? Just do not do it at the exclusion of what really matters. Life is short. I fear outcomes when people do not stop to question their daily actions or motivations to see what are they creating. Is this meeting their core needs? Are they asking, is this meeting my core needs? What direction is your boat going? Are you taking responsibility and seeing you're actually creating everything that is happening in your life? What if we all committed to upping our game even one notch? My answer, one of them, meditate more. If you don't meditate at all, try it for 10 to 15 minutes. If you can, the same time every day. And see by sitting totally still. You could sit on a chair, on a bench, on a zafu, anywhere, as long as your back is straight. And ideally, you want your buttocks and your hips to be higher than your knees. Using your breath as an anchor, notice where the sensations are most. Are they in the nose, which tends to have a lot more sensation, or is it in the belly where you feel the rhythm of the breath? And stay there anchored as your focus. Put the timer on. This is where you use your phone to your benefit. And every time you drift into thinking, which you will for a long time, you go back to the breath over and over and over again, eternally gentle and patient and consistent. And with your enthusiastic perseverance, if you need a guided meditation on YouTube, do that. Or learning to harness your monkey mind of all these wild thoughts, just sitting quietly. I like to sit in front of a window, and if I start to get tired, I'll open my eyes so I could see outside into some kind of nature or something beautiful. And I like hearing the wind chimes and the birds, and even in the winter I have the window cracked an inch so I could feel the breeze. So one technique in meditation is that if you label your thoughts in a general category such as planning, judging, comparing, or thinking mind, instead of addressing the details that come up, look at it as a cloud of words as it passes by, and it will pass by. When you're very anchored in your breath and in your body, and you're just watching how the mind will come up, it's like a few words. They'll pass by like a cloud up in the sky, and you don't even have to look to see what's happening. And keep yourself anchored in your breathing. You could also bring in sounds, listening to the nearby sounds or the faraway sounds, without putting your attention 100% onto it. Just notice it as sound. Birds, cars, words, etc. I promise you, by the 5th day or the 35th day, with intention to sit and keep practicing. We do this for life. We practice for life. Follow the breath and letting thoughts go. You will have spontaneous moments of deep peace and ease and creative revelations. You will see review of your day through the people you were engaged with, but you'll see it now as if it were a slow-moving movie, and you notice the subtle nuances of what you might have missed. In the moment, we usually have an agenda or we're in a hurry, and maybe the person you were with really needed more from you. Now, when you sit in the stillness of meditation and your own busyness is gone, you may see this and review it and notice their face looked a little sad, or they were a little more quiet than usual. And did you miss a real opportunity to be there for someone in need? Because we are slaves to our minds and thoughts, we believe that matters. What matters is being present and breathing and noticing everything in the moment, noticing fully saturating ourselves in the moment in our experience with who's in front of us. Let us meditate daily as a priority and see if you find where you normally get reactive, defensive, or angry, you now find this built-in buffer of a stability, of a like a this warm protection around you, that everything feels safe and clear and it comes deep from your being. Learning to trust yourself and what is inside instead of the distortions of what is manipulated outside of us. Learning to trust what is inside. This is our true stability and strength. When we harness this potent year of 2020, and we see on what small scale or grand scale you can make a difference in your day-to-day life, in your personal relationships, your community, and humanity at large. My goal is to increase daily appreciations, to feel more moments than I ever have and more joy. I will allow infinite creativity and inspiration to flow out of me. I trust in my meditation. When I'm sitting and meditating, that's always when I have that moment of, I have a sense to, I haven't talked to that friend in a while, or I haven't texted that client. And then always they respond back. I'm so glad you wrote. I was just thinking about you. Or I was having such a hard day. I'm so glad you called me. The same happens with my topics for my podcasts. It happens either while I'm meditating or while I'm at the gym. At the gym, that is my moving meditation. As long as I'm not talking or thinking, all I'm doing is experiencing the feeling of the muscles moving and noticing my heartbeat, my breathing, counting the reps. I can't wait to shower and go to one of my favorite many Austin coffee shops and get my almond milk cappuccino and start writing my podcast, my inspiration for the day. And yes, I'm grateful that I have these tools. So, I did a great workshop for microneedling and nanoneedling in Maui this month, and it was so dear to my heart. It was the closest I've ever experienced of a Spa Luna reunion, having a school over 20 years for esthetician and massage. I had graduates from over that span of time, and I had each one go around and introduce themselves and say what they're doing in the world of aesthetics and healing and what class they graduated from, and it was just beautiful. So I was grateful for that, and I'm hopefully going back the end of April. My dear, dear friend is getting married, and I'm going for her wedding, so I will hopefully offer another workshop. Anyways, I am teaching my 30-day famous detox my 30-day detox spiritual reboot cleanse here in South Austin. It's going to be Thursday evenings, February 13th, 20th, 24th, and March 5th from 7 to 9. It's $300 or 2 for $500. And I serve alkaline broth soup, so there's your dinner for the night, and then we're going to do a meditation and journaling and movement and various process-oriented journaling exercises, and I'm going to lecture on the different physical, mental, emotional, spiritual detox. Now, if you are already a healthcare professional, an esthetician, a massage therapist, a nurse, life coach, personal trainer, I do a similar program where you're still doing my 30-day cleanse, and I make it special for you. I customize it, for your needs. But each week where we do a 2-hour class for 4 weeks, I'm going to lecture again on the different levels of detox and purification. But whatever your weak area is, if it's emotional detox or the physical or things you don't know, I'm going to cater it towards you so you can help your clients. That one is called Total Client Renovation Certification. So that is an advanced life coach certification, and it's one-on-one. It's just you and I. And we'll do that FaceTime, Skype, or Messenger, and that's $500. And you're welcome to read any of my testimonials of my workshops at spaluna.com. Also, the fabulous David Garrison and I are teaching another transformational Change Your Life, Be a Relationship Architect intensive weekend. That's going to be Saturday and Sunday, March 21st and 22nd from 10 to 5. That includes a healthy lunch, and it's highly interactive. It's process-oriented and gives tremendous clarity on tools and skills to attract and maintain a fulfilling, intimate relationship that meets your core needs. So this is about understanding your blind spots, like what didn't work before, what are the red flags, and we have a contract that you fill out, and we hold you to it. Life is short. Let's learn how to manifest our most fulfilling, authentic companion in front of us, that mirror that's going to help us be our best selves. I am about to set up my calendar for 2020. If any estheticians out there in Texas or online want any certifications, I offer lash extensions, microneedling, nanoneedling, dermaplaning, advanced skin analysis, aromatherapy. I do a certification for microdermabrasion with salt and diamond tip crystal free. I also teach oxygen facials with that same workshop. And I am a distributor of the impressive, highly effective Salternative machine, which is just under $7,000. It's $69.95 plus $65 shipping. No tax on that. Many of these can be taken virtually online or if you're in South Austin, but contact me if you're interested or if you're interested in any insight counseling. You could call or text 808-283-7587. If it's in a group, in-house in Austin, when I get enough people wanting a workshop, we'll set the dates. And if you want to do it one-on-one, and it's something we can do one-on-one, I've taught microneedling virtually for so long. So, of course, I sell those micro derma pens also. And those are $11.95 for the starter kit. Anyways, we will end with, I want to know, the question of the year is, how are you going to up your game and make a difference in this world this year? What is it? What is it you want to do? What is it you want to create? Who is the person you want to be? And start a plan and make certain it fills your needs, fills your heart, fills your mind. Make certain it's not an isolation. And I thank all of you for listening. Please share and like and comment and follow me and spread the word. And aloha. Thank you.